I'm with Small Biz Thoughts, and I appreciate you being here today for this presentation of the launching of a program called Coach Valet. So first of all, I want to make sure that everybody knows kind of what we're here for. So we've got a service that came out of my experience as a coach. And so I coach IT consultants on the business side of their business. And so today we're going to talk about this program, and it's designed for people who want to basically self-coach or work with their own coach and have a place to keep track of all of their progress and all the tasks and the goals they've set, short-term, long-term, and medium-term. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how you get started, show some examples of the program, and then we're going to take some questions at the end. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Karl Palachuk. I write a blog called Small Biz Thoughts. I'm the author of 10 books, most of which are either technical books or they are business books intended for IT consultants. When I started coaching, I needed something to keep track of all of what I was doing with all of my clients, and so I put together a program. Eventually, I decided that I needed to have this program be something that several of us could log into at the same time. I needed to be able to go through things with my clients and have them go through things with their employees. So I got together with programmer Aaron from India, and this is entirely built on the Azure platform. So it's 100% cloud-based, and it's all hosted up there in the sky. And this is all brand new programming. It has an ASP front end, but basically it's all built 100% on the Azure programming fabric. And so this program was designed to meet those goals, but also from the get-go, every single piece of this program is customizable. So when you look at the everything in the program, what you're going to find is that you can change absolutely everything that needs to be changed, and then you can customize everything about it, and we'll go into that into some detail. This is designed so either you can coach yourself or you can work with a coach. So it's got actually a coaching level log on. There's an owner level log on, a manager level log on, a user level log on, and then there's a coaching log on. So you can use this to basically figure out what you want to do in your business, make sure that nothing is lost, dropped, or forgotten, and then figure out, how you're going to get everything done. At the beginning, especially with coaching, there's lots of stuff that has to be done up front. It might be as basic as picking a remote monitoring and managing tool. It might be fine-tuning that process. Somebody has to learn the tool. Somebody has to set up the patch management. Somebody has to document the approval process. Somebody has to implement that, and then as time goes on, you get into kind of a maintenance mode. And so you might even have a task that's related to just maintaining the system and making sure that everything's working the way it's supposed to. So let's look at some examples of what happens when you sign up for and begin the process of working with Coach Valet. First of all, I talked about the 4 different types of users, so you can totally manage that, and you can say, well, who does this person report to? And you can set up what kind of notifications that they get. Whenever a task is changed, you can get a notification through email or inside the system or both. So if I sign in a task to you, then you would get a notification that you've got a new task. When you change the status from no progress to in progress, I get a notification that that's taken place. And so all of that is managed from inside the system. Owners can make some changes at the very, very high end in terms of some of the customizations we're going to talk about today. Managers can run the reports, and they can create tasks and actually create users and do some other things, but they can't change that highest level of defining what the system looks like. Users are just folks who are not managers. So there's nothing special about it. Most of the people that you have, if you have any employees, most of them are going to be in the user category. probably not in the manager category. And then a coach sort of cuts across several of those and can run reports that not everybody else can run. So having a coach level access may be very useful to you. So let's look at customization. So the first thing you notice is that there's lots of categories. Here I have administration, clients, finances, marketing, PSA, relax, focus, succeed, all these categories. And you might not want all these categories. So you have the ability to delete any categories that you don't want or don't use. You have the ability to rename them. So if you edit them, you can rename a category. So you might take out finance tool and change the name to QuickBooks or whatever you happen to be using. You can also change the sort order. So by default, it wants to be in alphabetical order, but you might decide that you want tech support to always be at the top when you're sorting by category. Just for example, if tech support or service delivery is where most of your tickets are, you might want to just put that at the top, especially since many of the people using this are going to be in that department. And then same thing with the grading scale. As you can see here on the left, America's Tech Support has got this grading scale, A, B, C, D, no progress. But Go Valet Development internal to us, we have a grading scale that's 80%, 60, 40, 20, no progress, commented, published, right? So you can create, again, any kind of grades that you want. So you can have 1 to 10, 1 to 100, whatever makes sense internal to how you run your company, you can set it up that way. And of course, you can change the sort order here. Sometimes, if you go A, B, C, okay, that's pretty easy to alphabetize, but not necessarily everything you create is going to be in alphabetical order. So you can change the sort order for everything in there. And again, edit or delete anything that you find. So in terms of the priority scale, same thing. I have high, medium, low, which is not the sort order alphabetically, so I had to change that. But you can, again, create your own system here. If you want 1 to 10 priorities, if you want 1 to 100 priorities, whatever you want to do, you can put it in here. So just like everything else, you can customize it for yourself. Alrighty, and finally there's managing the tasks. When we start with the new Coach Valet system, it is preloaded with over 160 tasks that I have put together for my coaching clients. Some of these are fairly mundane, such as setting up QuickBooks and making sure QuickBooks is connected to the PSA and making sure all of your service agreements are in QuickBooks and that you know what you're selling and who you're selling it to, and on and on and on. There's 160, actually there's more than that. There's about 165 items at this point. And those are all preloaded into the system. So the first thing you want to do is look at those tasks and determine whether they're relevant to you. For example, if you've already got an employee onboarding process, then you can either delete that task or simply mark it as complete, at which point it will disappear from reports unless you check the box to say, I want to see all of the completed items as well. Once you've decided which of these are relevant to you, then you have to grade whether or prioritize them. Are these high, medium, or low priority? And are they in the right category for the way we run our company? Once they're prioritized, then you're going to go through and you're going to grade how well you're doing. So obviously, you're going to see in a minute, the cool report is going to be everything by priority from highest to lowest, and then what's our grade level? How are we doing on our highest priority items? So each of these can be edited, deleted, you can export them, you can import your own list of tasks from an Excel spreadsheet. So let's say, for example, that you're working with a coach, and your coach says, I don't care about Karl's list, so let's delete all of those, we'll just get rid of them, and then we'll import our own list. So I got my own 160 questions that I want you to work on. So you would be able to do that working with your coach. And once that's all in there, same process. Figure out what the priority is, the grading, and how you're doing on that. You can also, there's a thing that says owner so you can assign each of these tasks to somebody else. So if you're a sole proprietor, obviously, they're all assigned to you, and that's just the way it is. But if you've got an office assistant, they might do a whole number of tasks, a bookkeeper, a salesperson, lead tech, other techs, engineers, so forth. Everybody can have systems or tasks assigned to them. And if you choose to, then you can have them report to someone at the manager level. And in fact, on some cases, somebody at manager level might be reporting to somebody who is not a manager, but just happens to be in charge of a particular project. So you can put in any kind of tasks you want into the system. And right now we're looking at the complete task list for the company, which is something that managers and owners can see. Or over to the right, you see there's a menu that says My Task List. And if you look at only My Task List, that's something that would be only the person who's logged in would be looking at their own tasks, anything that's been assigned to them. So everybody can have customized reports. So let's look at the reports. The obvious reports are by grade. So you can say, where are we doing A and B and C work, and then by category. So let's look at the sales category and how are we doing, and in general, what's the progress on that. You can look by priority, which I think is the killer report, is to sort everything by priority from highest to lowest and then see how you're doing. And of course, you can have tasks by the individual user. This is big enough to stick on your wall here, so this is the, one of the great rules of life. Everything in your company is going to be a little more efficient if everybody is working from highest to lowest priority. And so this system is designed to allow you to do just that. So prioritizing everything, making sure that it's in the system, and making sure that everything is worked from highest to lowest priority is going to be a great savior for your company. Now, when you look at this report, this is the tasks by priority. You see the high priority tasks, client roadmap program. We think that we're doing excellent, and so even though it's got a due date, the truth is we think we're doing fine. HIPAA compliance, different story altogether. On HIPAA compliance, we are looking at something where we think, oh man, by September, we got to get this done. So I am not sure exactly what we need to do. So that's been assigned to somebody, and it's got to get done by September. We have to be HIPAA compliant. We manage some clients who are in the medical industry. They need to be HIPAA compliant. So we need to work on that. It's a high priority, but right now our grade is a C. So you can see very easily how this helps you prioritize what needs to be done. Now, once a task is created, you have the ability to add documents to it. And you can see in towards the upper left, there's a little menu item that says Documents. And you can add a document or multiple documents to each task. So once a task is created, you can go into it and add documents. So for example, you can upload that client roadmap meeting questionnaire, and you can have that in the system. And then here you would just be able to point to it as relevant to this particular task. And then you can also add to this list links to the outside world. So you could have a link to a blog post that talks about roadmap processes, or a link to a white paper, or a link to a PDF document that's somewhere, or something that's on your SharePoint site internal to your own company. It's just a hyperlink like anything else. So if it needs to go into a secure area, you'll be asked for credentials and so forth. So you can have essentially an unlimited number of documents in the system and an unlimited number of links for each task. But, realistically, you probably have somewhere between 0 and 5 documents per task. But I could easily see for some tasks 10 documents, 15 documents, whatever it takes. So you can upload whatever you want into the system, or you can simply link to it from the outside world. So let's talk about how you get started with all of this. Again, in terms of investing in your business, this is for people who want to do self-coaching, or for people who have a coach and that coach wants to be able to use this tool to help them manage their progress towards whatever their goals happen to be. Now, it can't be free. It costs money to provide this system. Obviously, I'm paying for hosting and I'm paying for development, and it costs something. It's also the case that you're not going to take it seriously if you don't pay for it. So if I give something for free, you might use it a little here and there, but after a while, you're going to stop using it, and that's just the reality of what it is. If you pay for it, you're much more likely to use it. Now, having said all that, it doesn't have to be expensive. There's no excuse for this to be so expensive that you could go ahead and hire an actual coach for the same price. Coach for $1,000 or $1,500 a month, you can get yourself a decent business coach. So obviously, this has to be probably significantly lower than that, and I think that we achieved that quite easily. So this program is absolutely for you if you're ready to be serious about improving your business. If you're ready to sit down and say, I'm going to go to work on this, I'm going to make it happen, then this is the program for you. If you say, I'm done with this recession, it's time for me to get back to work, time for me to grow the business, time for me to go out and get some more clients, so forth, then this is for you. And if you're willing to work at this, because I'll tell you, it's going to take some work. You sit down and you say, how am I doing on 160 items? Are those relevant to me? What's my priority? That's going to take time. It's going to take a few hours. But when you invest that time, you'll immediately begin to be able to run reports and see how you're doing. You're going to be able to immediately evaluate the progress in your company. And then you can make self-improvement a high priority. So if that's what you're ready for, then this is absolutely the program for you. Now, to be honest, this program is not for you if you can't make a small investment in your company right now, or if you're too busy working in your business to work on your business. And I like to say, you're too busy mopping the floor to fix a hole in the roof. That's what many people, that's how they've run their business for a long time. And whether you like it or not, you have to slow down in order to get more done. So if you don't have the ability right now to slow down and put some attention into this, come back another day. We'll be happy to have you. But today is not your day. Or if everything's going great, you're making money hand over fist, and you got everything you need, then by all means, you should not invest in this program. So here's what you get when you sign up for Coach Valet. First of all, you get the completely customized Goal Valet program. Now, Goal Valet is the engine behind Coach Valet. Coach Valet is simply the brand name used by me within the IT industry. If another coach wants to resell this, they might have a whole different front end for it, but Goal Valet is always going to be the back end engine that runs it. So on the Coach Valet site, we actually say this is Coach Valet powered by Goal Valet. So you get the entire Goal Valet system preloaded with 160 tasks that are critical to your success and focused completely on the IT industry. All of those are going to be cross-linked to related documents and standard operating procedure, SOP Friday posts, and you'll be able to have unlimited usage and data transfer. So you put all the documents into it that you want, you can download them 1,000 times, whatever you need to do. We are going to be posting regular how-to videos, and we're not going to overwhelm you. We're going to have probably one a week, and we're going to have some best practice videos. So we're going to help you get started by walking you through the process of, for example, uploading things into the system, or the process of grading yourself, the process of setting up through the first initial interview. And then you're going to receive a monthly email newsletter, which is for Coach Valet subscribers only, just to keep you on track with the self-coaching and what's new in the program. And then we're going to have, if you need it, discount codes for SWOT analysis. If you're a Coach Valet subscriber, then if you need a SWOT analysis, you'll be able to get that at a significant discount. And SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So part of that is what I go through with my coaching clients when we first sign up. We do a SWOT analysis and determine how we're going to answer that 160 questions. So you can do that for yourself, but if you need outside help, we can help you. I only do one SWOT analysis a month, so if you can't wait for me, then I will refer you to another coach who will be able to help you with that SWOT analysis. There are many coaches, and of course their pricing is going to be different from mine. So here's the investment. The way I price it, I think, is very fair. Is the first user is $25 a month, and we'll give you a couple months for free, so you get, if you pay for the whole year, it's $249. And then each additional user is $10 a month. Again, give you a couple months free, so if you buy the whole year, it's $99. So the total there is $348. But if you're one of the first 50 companies to sign up for this, between now and August 31st, we're going to give you 50% off for 2 users for 12 months. That means your total price is $174, and that actually gets you 13 months, because everybody always gets 30 days free to try out this program. So anybody who wants to can sign up and get the first 30 days free, and then we will bill you on the 31st day if you don't tell us to knock off. But if you sign up right now and pay the $174, you get actually the 30 days free plus 12 months. So you get 13 months free for 2 users, or essentially unlimited usage for those 2 users for 1 year. These 2 users could be the owner plus an employee, or the owner plus a coach. So however you want to use it is totally up to you. If you want to buy additional licenses, they would be at the normal prices, which would be $10 a month. So I'm going to take questions, but I just want to let you know this is my price right now for the SWOT analysis. If you're a Coach Valet subscriber, the SWOT analysis is only $995. It includes disc profiles, interviews with your team, a complete analysis of how you're doing things right now, and a report that I deliver both in writing and by phone so that we can talk about your business. And that's just sold, obviously, completely separately. So having said all that, let's look at some questions and see what kind of questions people have in the system. If you are on by telephone, go ahead and press *2 to raise your hand, and I will see if I can call anybody. If you are in the webcast and you want to enter a question, just go to the Q&A area, and I'll be happy to look at any questions that we have there. One of the questions was, is this going to be resold through coaches? And the answer is yes. So if anyone is a coach who would like to talk to me about reselling this, I'd be happy to do so. If you are an IT consultant and you think that this is something that you might be able to sell to your clients, that's cool too. I'd be happy to talk to anybody about that as well. So again, *2 will raise your hand if you dialed in by phone. If you're in over the web, just put the questions into the question and answer period. So another question is, does this connect to external calendars or a PSA system? The answer is right now it does not. So if you think that it's a useful thing, we can talk about developing something like that. Realistically, this is not intended to replace your PSA. It's not intended to be something that takes the place of your PSA. So when we look at the tasks that are in here, they tend to be goal-setting tasks, not necessarily internal tasks for your company that would be put into the system in your PSA. If you want to manage your PSA, you're certainly welcome to do that. It might be a little bit complicated for some folks. So give me information and feedback that you have on that. If there's enough call for it, we'll be able to do that. Another question is on, does this allow us to have 2-factor authentication? And the answer is, today it does not. So if there is enough demand for something like that, we'll go ahead and do it. But right now, today, it is not supported as part of the program at the release. So give us the feedback on that. If it's something you really need, then we can figure it out. All right. So if there are any other questions, go ahead and press *2 if you're dialed in, and take a look at that. And if you are online, just type them into the question and answer area. Any more questions? Going once, going twice. Alrighty then. So this pricing is going to be good through August 31st. And so if you're interested, if you have any questions, send me an email. I'm going to be marketing this some more, of course, and we're going to have another video probably next Tuesday. I'm going to have a much better webinar tool. I've already subscribed to that. So we'll see what we can do with getting this one up. The slides, somebody mentioned, are just a little bit out of focus, so I'm going to go ahead and post up the slides with this video. So that will be on the Coach Valet site. There's kind of a documentation area. We'll put this in there. Thank you for tuning in today. I want to send a shout out to Nancy. Thanks for putting something in the question and answer area. And please send me any questions you have at carlp@snbbooks.com or smallbiztalks.com, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Check out the website. We're going to keep adding documentation and so forth there. And I appreciate you taking the time today. Please get in touch with us, and you can always go to coach-valet.com and take advantage of that introductory offer of 2 users for 1 year for $174. Thank you very much. This concludes our broadcast for today.